Welcome everybody, my name's Andrew Yardy and I'm working with Deb to give you a hand and support you in creating really wonderful and amazing blogs and wikis for your two assignments that you're working on. And before you embark on your exciting journey into the world of web publishing, I wanted to cover a few basics that will hopefully save you a little bit of time when preparing your assignments for both your blog and your wiki project. The first thing I wanted to do was just explain what a blog is. As you can see on this page, a blog is essentially a website that is made up of multiple entries, and those entries are listed chronologically on the page. When you first access your blog, you'll notice that there aren't any entries in your blog. So one of the first tasks you'll have to do is create a new blog entry. And that will become the space where you will create your digital story. It'll essentially be the container for which you'll add your title page and all the other elements of the assignment. As I mentioned previously, I've been helping students with this assignment for at least the last couple of semesters, and I just wanted to touch on a few challenges that students face and pull them away from actually working on the content and worrying more about the technology. Those two issues really relate to formatting and laying out the materials in a blog or a wiki, and dealing with images in a wiki or a blog. The first issue that students face is related to the fact that entries in a blog or pages in a wiki work differently than that of things that you're more familiar with, which would be Microsoft Word or PowerPoint. For example, if you've used PowerPoint before, you'll love the ability to move text and images around. In a blog entry, we cannot move and position elements with the same degree of freedom. So let's consider this sample blog that is available in your site. You can see here now that we've got a range of elements, and we've got an image, we've got a photograph and text alongside it. Now it's simply not possible, for example, to just position this image where we want on the page. What we do need to do is create formatting structures like tables, paragraphs and spaces and things like that in order to control the formatting of our elements on the page. So let's just jump into this sample and have a look at how that works. So one of the interesting things and I'll touch on in another video is the use of tables for formatting. Tables can be really effective in positioning elements on the screen. So in this case, for our timeline, we used a simple 3-column table structure to position our date adjacent to our image, adjacent to our text. And that's the simplest way to format any element on a web page, is to use a table. The second issue that students face and have a lot of trouble with is the use of videos and images. And I want to talk about images in particular because it's probably most common that you'll be putting some images into your blogs and wikis. What you can see here is a small icon, and what that is telling us is that that image is not in an appropriate format. So the main things that students have trouble with, and the main reason why you'll get into trouble with using images, is because you haven't selected an image in an appropriate format. The most appropriate formats to use on the internet and use for your blog and wiki assignments are formats in a .jpeg, JPG, .png, or GIF or BMP or bitmap. So they're called JPEG, PNG, GIF or bitmap. The second issue that students face and relates to a kind of a practice that relates to copying and pasting. So in Word and PowerPoint, for example, it's possible to copy and paste images from one application to another, or for example to take an image and copy and paste it somewhere else on the page. Now that works perfectly fine in Microsoft Word and PowerPoint, but that does not work on the internet. And for some people last year, they were actually able to copy and paste images from Word to their blogs. The problem was that it wasn't actually displaying for everyone else. So with that in mind, what I want you to make sure is that when you are copying and pasting from Word, that you upload your images to the Blackboard server and don't rely on the copy and paste. So let's have a look at, just to give you an example. So let's say this is part of my family story. What I've got is a table here, and what I want to do is copy and paste that into my blog. So what I'm going to do is press Control V, which is paste, and what you can see here on my browser, it didn't actually copy the image. What it did was copy the table and the text, but not the image. For some people's browsers, that will actually copy the image. Now, and that will give you the perception that it's going to display appropriately, but that is not the case. So do not copy and paste your images from Word into your blog. The most appropriate way, or the correct way to do that, is to use the insert image tool on your editor. So you place the cursor where you want to insert the image. You use the Insert Edit Image button. You select Browse Computer. You locate your image and then select Open. You add an image description, which is, this is important because it allows, if anyone else in the class is using what's called a screen reader, which is an assistive technology for people who might have a vision impairment, then they'll actually be able to understand the image. So you put in here a description of the image. Then you click Insert. Okay, so what you can see here now is wonderfully that I've got, so what you can see here now is that I've got my name, I've got my image in my table, but importantly the image has been uploaded to Blackboard. So that means that anyone else who's viewing your blog will be able to see the image. And then we click Post Entry to update that. It's taking a little bit of time. And you can see here now that my blog's been updated. So we've covered 3 issues that students face with the technology using blogs. The first one is formatting and organizing things on the page, and to solve that we use tables. The second one relates to using images and choosing the appropriate format, and the third one relates to uploading images to Blackboard. If you follow those 3 procedures, then I'm sure you won't have any trouble with your blog assignments.